Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Today we are going to be talking about The Brutalist, which is the new film by Brady Corbett, a movie that has been heavily promoted across several marketing schemes this award season. I've been super excited to check this film out since its trailer and also its synopsis, and especially just the director alone. I've been following Brady Corbett for the past couple of years, and mostly way past his directorial efforts. I've actually followed this dude since his acting career with Thunderbirds and Mysterious Skin, and he was also in the Funny Games remake. This dude has been balling for the past several years, just with acting and then directing alone. And this is his most audacious and expansive film that I've seen from him, especially since his last film Fox Lux was very underrated and underappreciated, and it deserves a lot of the flowers that it has nowadays, because when it came out a lot of people were just dismissive about it, and I was one of those people who were just wait a minute, this dude can cook.
People have been trying to take me down for years, but I won't stay down.
And on top of that, it's a film that also deals with artistic integrity and just the idea of compromising your art just for the sake of doing it. And this film is kind of a continuation of what Brady Corbett has tried to do with art, and he tried to kind of translates it to now with architecture. But before I really go super deep into this film, I want to kind of set the stage of how the synopsis is and what it's about, and then eventually I'll spill the beans of this movie. So yeah, let's get into The Brutalist. So the movie starts with Laszlo appearing from Ellis Island to Pennsylvania, and the opening first 10 minutes is just chaos, where you see a lot of these immigrants crammed into the boats, and they're trying to get their things and move out of the boat, and eventually Laszlo lands in Ellis Island, and you see the upside down Statue of Liberty representing the image of the American dream. But of course it's faded, and it's a long type of road to get to that point of the American dream, the dream that people are trying to get. And the whole thing is basically Laszlo trying to bring his architectural identity from Poland to America, and he has this idea of building a utopia for the city of Philadelphia. It's actually a town, a small town in Philadelphia, that is trying to build a rec center type of thing, but with also a place of worship. Because even before, Laszlo starts to do this project, he meets this young guy who is the son of a industrialist. The industrialist is played by Guy Pearce. Harrison is the character's name. And the son of Harrison shows up at Laszlo's place of beginning in the furniture store, and Laszlo's just kind of I don't want to do this project, I don't know who you are. But eventually, even before they start this project, Harrison's son wants him to build a little small library area in the mansion of the house where Harrison is staying, and he does it out of a surprise for Harrison, and Harrison finds out, and Harrison gets angry. But then eventually years pass, and Harrison reunites with Laszlo, and they embark this project where they're going to build this rec center in Philly, in the small town of Philly, and it takes years and years and years to build the entire thing. And it starts out with Laszlo trying to get the materials together, and then there's some clashing between the workers who are working on the project, and then there's an accident that happens in between, and then it's just a whole thing where Laszlo is trying to figure out how to build this project in full without compromising any of his artistic endeavors. And I say this wholeheartedly. I think this is kind of reflective of Brady Corbett's own artistic prosperous adventure, and I say this repeating myself because this movie is 220 minutes of pure just classical American dream filmmaking. This movie does not hold up its runtime. It runs really long. It has an intermission halfway through. It's split into 3 parts with an epilogue, and man, I was just seated the whole entire time. Its runtime is never wasted. I wasn't at a point where I was just oh, this is taking too long to get to the point. It was just, everything just felt nearly perfect. I don't like to say, films can be, perfect, and not every movie is perfect, but stuttering. But yeah, I think this movie really like hits hard with like its themes of the American dream and like how it's hard to like chase it, and also on top of chasing your artistic dreams without like compromising it. And Laszlo, from like the beginning, he's just the type of dude who just wants to build shit and like get his stuff out there, and people are trying to like come after him, and he's just kind of like yelling at people and also being very not submissive, but he's just doing his thing, and I respect it. And Adrian Brody, his performance in this movie is fantastic. Even from like the first 20 minutes where he hops off the boat, he starts crying, he starts hugging the people that brought him here, who got him to America, and you can just tell like how Adrian Brody is like really committed to this performance and like the Polish accent. He's speaking in Polish, he's speaking in his American accent, but with like the Polish like accent. Like he's doing a lot of stuff. He's doing acting, and yeah, like he's really fantastic, and I can see him winning the second Oscar for this role. Guy Pearce is just, he's one of my favorite actors. He's shown up in a lot of great movies. I'm finally like happy that he's getting his flowers due with this performance. Of course, it is kind of like a one-note performance where he's playing like this loud, cartoonish character, but he plays it so damn well. And especially near like the second half of the film where things start to unravel with the character and you start to like really hate him. I won't spoil it here, but there's a scene in the movie where it's just like, yeah, get this dude. He's an asshole. Joe Alwyn also is really, really good. I've been kind of like familiar of his game, especially with this year with Kinds of Kindness, where he shows up. He does like a segment in that movie, but here he's actually really good. He's getting better and better as an actor. And then Felicity Jones, I've really enjoyed her work. Sometimes she has like some hits and misses, but here she's just fantastic in this movie. I was just like bawling when she shows up in the second half of the film. But yeah, especially like she doesn't show up in the first half of the film. She just kind of like is in the background of the character's minds, because her character is just a Polish immigrant who is suffering from osteoporosis due to the famine, and Laszlo is like talking about her in like passing, but she hasn't passed. She's just like in Poland trying to like get to America, and then once she just lands in America, it's a warm and like beautiful introduction, and then eventually her character turns into one of these characters where she's suffering from like sickness and like the famine, and she's trying to like live herself through a lot of the baggage that Laszlo is trying to like have, and it's a beautiful performance. For me personally, I don't have any like criticisms. Maybe I think the final 30 to 40 minutes, there's a shift of dramatics where the film kind of like teeters out with some of the character motivations. But at the same time, when you really think about it, it makes sense, especially with like Guy Pearce's character, Harrison, what happens to him near the end, and what also happens to Felicity Jones near the end of the film. She gets a really great like scene confronting Guy Pearce about something. Again, I won't spoil it, but it's a fantastic scene. It really like gives her a lot of the space and like the acting ability to, elevate the material at hand. But yeah, like this was fantastic. It's easily one of the best films of the year, like top 5, hands down, 5 out of 5. Like I don't have any like gripes with it. Brady Corbett as a director, he's elevated to legendary status in my opinion, especially with Fox Lux, which is one of my favorite movies of like the last decade. So coming to this and just like really feeling the filmmaking and like the Vista vision and like the 70mm and like the long runtime and like the score and just like the acting, like everything just comes together. And I can't believe this movie was just like $10 million to make, and it looks like a $200 million movie. Yeah, like this was just fantastic. I don't have any gripes. I keep repeating myself, but again, I don't have any gripes. Definitely see this movie in theaters. Don't watch it on digital. It is one of those films that you have to like watch in theaters and really like take in and really experience it in its full capacity. It's playing in New York City, LA right now, but it's going to come out in mid-January in theaters, and yeah, love this movie. Check it out. Yeah, so that's basically it. I will be doing my worst of films coming soon. I'm still like editing it. It's kind of like wonky, but it's getting there. I'll bring it out pretty soon, but yeah, that's basically it. Peace out.